Director of U-Turn Parkinson's. I'm a professional speaker, author, and I have Parkinson's disease. And I'm a PD Avenger, one of the most important things that I do. Welcome to Coffee with Tim, a conversation of life and Parkinson's. Well, it's been a long time. I know I have been very delinquent on my Friday mornings, so I do apologize. I would blame Parkinson's, but that wouldn't be the whole truth. So we'll just say that life has gotten in the way of getting these done. But here we are back and attempting to make a go of it now for the summer and the fall and the winter, and we'll see what we can accomplish. But I hope everyone's doing well. If you're tuning in today, make sure you give me a thumbs up and a like on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, comment there, like us. The more you can do that, the better. It helps get it out to folks who might enjoy it, might want to see it. So yeah, and make sure you say hi in the chat below. Patrick McCabe, good morning, man. Good to see you. Missed you at class last night. Heard you weren't feeling 100%. Hope you're doing better today. So where have I been? Well, lots of places. Went on holidays for a while. We're away in February and March, and then got back into real life and settled into work stuff. And it's just kind of, it takes its toll. But today is Friday the 13th, and it's going to be a wonderful day. Well, I didn't realize it was Friday the 13th until I was doing this, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So yeah, I'm not superstitious. I don't worry about these things, but nonetheless, I thought I would point that out for you. The hat for today, if you're tuning in for the first time, and Pat, you'll know my Kansas City Chiefs hat. Not only do I like my Kansas City Chiefs hat from Super Bowl a couple ago already, but it also gets rid of my haircut for a little while. I went to a new barber, and I didn't give him any instructions whatsoever on how to cut my hair. And well, let's just say I got my money's worth. So I'm adjusting to it. But I thought this morning I would share with you and some pictures and some travel tips from France. We went on holidays, Cheryl and I, for a good while. We got away for a number of weeks. We had some tickets that were going to expire if we didn't use them, and they were worth quite a bit. So we decided things with COVID seemed to be settling down. So we decided to take the chance and go. And we thought, well, if we're going to sit at home, we can sit at home, or we can sit in an apartment on the Mediterranean. So we decided to rent an apartment in the south of France for a few weeks. And we sat there and stared at the Mediterranean for a while. And it was absolutely beautiful. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you some pictures. Hopefully, if my technology will cooperate with me. I think I know what I'm doing. We'll see here shortly. Let me just get myself going here in a couple places, and hopefully this works right. So Pat, you give me a thought. You let me know if you're not seeing pictures here. Okay. All right, here we go. We will share screen. Technology is just always wonderful. And now you're seeing multiple screens, but I hope now you are seeing me. Me with some very blurry, bloodshot eyes. Pat me a thumbs up if that's what you're seeing now. And you should be back to my other screen. Perfect. There we go. Awesome. So I threw in here because I thought, you know what? When people travel, or when we talk about traveling, we always talk about the good, how much fun we've had, how wonderful it is, and all the good things that go along with it. But especially with Parkinson's, this picture represents my worst time traveling. We had landed in London in Gatwick. This was our first little apartment or hotel. This was a little B&B that we stayed out there for a couple of nights. And this is what jet lag does to me. I was absolutely pasted. My eyes burned. You can see they're bloodshot. They felt like two burnt holes in my head. I could not put two sentences together to save my life. I was exhausted beyond words, having a hard time walking, and I could not wait to get to this hotel and just collapse. The fact that I thought about taking this picture actually amazes me, but I think I was so startled by it when I looked in the mirror. And I thought people need to see this because this is one of the things that I have to plan for the most when I'm traveling is jet lag. I always found it difficult even before Parkinson's, but now it is absolutely horrendous. It takes me days to get over it, and we have learned that we simply have to slow down, we have to stop and give me time, because if we don't, it's just miserable. So travel tip number one, you've got to slow down. You've got to slow down and give yourself permission to go slower than what you probably think you need to, and just take some time. So that's the bad news. The good news is that I eventually get over it. And we got on with the trip and had just a wonderful time. One of my favorite pictures. Tell me you can't take good pictures with an iPhone, right? That's a doggone good picture. And that was a doggone good raspberry tart. Sitting there looking out over the ocean in this yacht club that we were sitting in front of. This is one of my favorite pictures. Well, it is my favorite picture of our entire time away. This is our balcony off of our little apartment. We rented this little apartment for a few weeks and traveled up and down the coast, took little day trips from here. But this was the view that we woke up to every single morning, and this was absolutely stunning. I actually started playing a little game with myself every morning. We had these storm shades that came down over the windows that just blocked the place right out. So I would go to the storm shades, and before I hit the button to raise it, I would ask myself, is it still there? So then I'd wait for the storm shades to come up, and I'm like, yes, it is still there. It was absolutely stunningly beautiful. And you know how pictures do not always do justice to where you're at. This picture is not bad, but it still doesn't do justice to how absolutely beautiful this view was every morning. And so then, of course, we had our breakfast and our lunch and our supper out there from time to time. And it wasn't terribly hot. It looks, of course, much, much warmer than Winnipeg, and it was. But the temperatures there were around anywhere from 10 to 20. 20 was a high. It was high at 20, maybe 1 or 2 days. And it got as low as 10, maybe 1 or 2 days. By and large, it was around 14 to 16 degrees. So we just had a great time. So there's our travel pictures and travel tips. Well, what can I tell you? Give yourself permission to slow down, take your time, pack lighter than you think you need. I was having this argument with friends again the other day, non-Parky friends who think they each need a medium-sized suitcase. Cheryl and I each traveled with a small backpack and a carry-on suitcase for 5 weeks. Yeah, for 5 weeks. That's all you need. If you learn to do it right, you roll things, you pack well. If you ever want any advice on that, I can certainly share it with you, but it makes life so much easier. You are not stressed about luggage making it from point A to point B to point C to point D. You just always have it with you. And really, if you're moving from place to place, nobody's ever going to see what you're wearing. You don't need a bunch of stuff. So, especially as Parkies, I suggest less is more. And you learn to pack light and make it easier on yourself. Well, the puppy diaries, it's been a while since we've talked about Bella. Bella's still here. And I don't mean that to seem as negative as it might sound, but it's been a year and a half and we're still adjusting to being a pet family. This was our first dog and she's doing quite well. We've had our ups and downs, but she's settling in, and this spring, once we started walking more in further distances from home and whatnot, we started encountering more dogs. And even though she had been in daycare over the winter and she would take her to the dog park, she started becoming very reactive to dogs that we would pass. So we're working on that, and she got out of the house the other day. Freaking nightmare. Nothing like, sitting in your office on a meeting and all of a sudden you hear a trash can fall over. Go check to see what's happened. The back door is standing open. One of the trash cans has been knocked over as Bella has bolted from the house. I found her in the park across the street barking at a lady and her dog. I would have given her away to anyone who would have taken her that day. I was so distraught by that incident. But everybody was fine. Nobody got hurt. And other than my anxiety for the day, everything was fine. So yeah, Bella is doing well. Got no real complaints there, and things are going well. She's by and large a good dog. I figure she's probably a better dog than I am, Master. Really, is what it boils down to. All right, what's shaking? The Parky update. Well, the Parky update. Things are going okay. I still have Parkinson's. That's the downside. The upside is that I'm still one of the healthiest guys I know living with Parkinson's disease. And it's been a little bit more shaky of recent. The meds don't seem to be holding quite as well as they were for a while. But then I'm also not putting in the mileage and the intensity and exercise that I had been. So which is it? Is it the medication wearing off, or is it the intensity and volume of exercise? I am not sure. So I'm working at ramping up the latter to avoid increasing the former, because I certainly don't want to do that. And we'll see. I'll let you know how it goes. It's I'm on a fair amount of levodopa as it is. I really don't want to add any more because my dyskinesias aren't terrible, but they're enough. And I really don't want to. Every time I increase my levodopa, now I see an increase in my dyskinesia. So I really don't want to see an increase further in my dyskinesia. It's quite uncomfortable. It makes it difficult to drive sometimes, and it's to pain. So if my dyskinesia is increasing, I'm going to have to be looking at a medication to try to counteract the dyskinesias. And then you start feeling like that you're on this hamster wheel of chasing your symptoms, right? So I would far rather get back to working out harder, longer and harder, and see if that won't indeed affect things for the positive. Other than that, I would have to say things are okay. We carry on apace, and life goes on with Parkinson's. Speaking of life going on, my youngest daughter, my third child, is getting married this July. How did this happen? How did this happen? But yeah, July 30th, I will marry off my second daughter, and yeah. And then I'm back to speaking. I had a couple of in-person events now, and I have another coming up June 9th. I'll be in Syracuse, New York. It's about 3 hours outside of New York City, I believe, but I'll be in Syracuse with Empower Parkinson's Conference. And if you're in the neighborhood there and would like to drop in, please do. I am with, let's see here, I'm going to just show you if I can. I'm with Parkinson's for their 5th anniversary breakfast celebration, June 9th. I'm the featured speaker. So yeah, it's a good group out there, and I'm looking forward to being with them. So we'll talk about living your best and the 3 secrets of what is needed to live your best. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. Lots of fun. I spoke for the World Federation of Athletic Trainers and Therapists here in Winnipeg at the Convention Center. About a week, yes, and that went great. Super fun time with them, and yeah. So if you're in Syracuse, or if you ever see anything online, I from time to time I'm doing some online stuff. Feel free to pick it up. I do a few different things now. I have my Live My Best, which has often been my long-standing speech, and I have another that I call It's All About Me. And I really enjoy that. So if you're looking for a keynote for your event, corporate or Parkinson's, give me a call, timsenior.ca, and I'd love to talk to you about it. A lot of fun, a lot of encouragement, and I think there's a cool story in The Amazing Race, Parkinson's, and how to live your best. Well, guys, I think that's it for today. I hope you continue to do well. Do me a favor. Before you leave today, take and share this on your social media to your folks, to anyone that you think that would be this would be helpful for them taking in, and just stick it on your social media and see who we can encourage today. So yeah, and then of course, like I said, give me those likes and thumbs up and stuff. That helps tremendously. Thank you, Pat. You have a great weekend as well. You hang in there. I know you're dealing with more than just Parkinson's, so you are certainly always in our thoughts, and we're holding out good thoughts and good hopes for you. So yeah, you have a great weekend as well. And everyone else, until next week, and there will be a next week. I'm back. I'm on it. I'm gonna stay true here. Till next week, have a great weekend. Hug those you love, and live your best. Persevere, because this race, your race, can be won as well. Look forward to talking to you next week. Bye bye.